Please join me in welcoming John Gray.
Thank you. My father fought in the Po Valley of Italy during World War II. He was in the 10th Mountain Infantry Division under Patton. Wounded in action, he escaped with his life and a Bronze Star. His accounts made me aware of the sacrifices made by our young people who go off to fight for their country. And his experience in that war made me study the history of that era, made me read up on Mussolini and the government that he formed. That experience enlightened me in much of what's going on today. Many speeches have been given over the years in opposition to various wars, yet we still have wars. They never seem to end. The perpetual state of war described in Orwell's book, 1984, seems to be the norm. And to me, this is scary. It has become normal. People have grown used to war. The television presents frequent 2-minute hates, very similar to those experienced by Winston Smith in 1984, where Emmanuel Goldstein has been replaced by a series of current figures who seem to morph from one end to the other. Bin Laden morphed into Saddam Hussein, into Ahmadinejad, into Hugo Chavez. The theme is constant: fear, hate, war. In fact, this constant crisis is used, just like in Naomi Klein's book, Shock Doctrine, to erode our constitutional protections. Look how easily we lost the protections of habeas corpus. There hasn't been a constitutionally declared war since 1941. The Congress has totally abdicated its constitutionally required responsibility. According to the books of Chalmers Johnson, Blowback, The Sorrows of Empire, and Nemesis, we currently have somewhere around 700 military bases around the world with over 1.3 million permanent employees. We spend more each year on maintaining this global military empire and on developing new weapons than the rest of the world combined. So what do we get for all this expense? We get the hatred and fear of much of the world and the deteriorating infrastructure at home. We seem to have no jobs, no health care, no security, and increasingly no faith in the future. So, rather than observing the 7th anniversary of Iraq, this particular military adventure, by bemoaning the loss of young Americans to death and war injuries, and one note on that, I had an injury myself about 1.5 years ago, and I had no way of conceiving what some of our young people must be going through when they come back from the war horribly injured. I have a little more empathy now, but I have no way of really understanding the torture they must go through in trying to recuperate and reclaim normal lives. But perhaps we would do well to consider that these endless wars are killing our democracy, our spirit, and our claim to moral high ground. How can we claim to lead the world in human rights issues when we render people to secret prisons in foreign lands for torture? How can we justify killing 2 million Vietnamese and over 1 million Iraqis in 2 wars based on lies? How can we justify continuing wars of global empire and resource domination, especially since it so violates our constitutional requirements? The Quadrennial Defense Review revealed the Pentagon's plan for global dominance. This truly is a wartime, Robert Gates wrote. The U.S. military is drawing up new sea and air battle plans in response to threats, such as China's persistent military buildup and Iran's possession of advanced weapons. And just yesterday, I learned on the internet of a shipment of nearly 400 bunker buster weapons to Diego Garcia, one of those 700 military bases. They will be positioned for use on Iran, most likely. It appears the world has gone completely insane. We have destroyed the lives of countless people in Iraq and Afghanistan already, but we're destroying the lives of countless people who will in the future contract terrible radiation-induced illnesses due to the depleted uranium from weapons already used there. The isotope of uranium involved has a half-life of nearly 1 billion years. The land is dusty, and frequent winds will ensure that the air is kept full of this atomized death forever. Already, the level of birth defects is tragic, and it will only get worse. 25% of all newborn babies have birth defects. The adult cancer rates are through the roof. In the town of Abel, the cancer count in 2004 was 500 cases. By 2009, it was exceeding 9,000 cases. Bunker busters in Iran will put much more contaminated soil into the air very quickly. If nuclear concentration facilities, enrichment facilities are being attacked, nuclear materials will likely be scattered, even if our bombs are not nuclear. And we have no assurance that some of those bunker busters aren't nuclear. Or we have no assurance that they are non-nuclear. These are war crimes, in my opinion, of the highest order. How can we allow these things to be done in our name? America has such potential to be a force for good in the world that it is tragic to permit those seeking global empire to call the shots. My personal hero is General Smedley Darlington Butler, two-time Medal of Honor winner, who wrote a small book after World War I called War is a Racket. And he correctly, I think, surmised that wars will continue as long as they make profits for enough people and for major corporations. His recommendations were few and simple. First, profit needs to be removed from wartime production by nationalizing all war goods production facilities for the course of the war and paying the employees and owners the same as a foot soldier in the Army. 2, war must only be declared by Congress. 3, a general draft should always be used for obtaining soldiers. And 4, between wars, our armies should stay home. Even the Navy should not venture beyond 200 miles from our own shores, because to do so would be needlessly provocative to other nations. Now, folks will immediately say, you can't be an isolationist in today's global economy. And I might ask them in return, why do you think that way? Are we not still the most powerful nation in the world? Can't we do anything we want? What countries are going to hate us more for leaving them alone? What is so wrong about becoming totally self-sufficient? I thought that self-reliance was a founding philosophy of this nation. And who is going to mess with us exactly if we choose to walk softly and carry a very big stick? Yeah! We need to heal ourselves before we seek to teach the rest of the world how to live. A better way is possible. The only path proven by history to fail almost every time is the attempt to achieve peace by means of war. The usual result on this path is only a pause in the fighting. That's all. I would pray that our leaders will somehow or the other encounter the wisdom and the desire to end these wars. Thank you.